If the presence of God is in the church will draw the world in. If the presence of God is not in the church, the world will draw the church out. Our life is full of brokenness, broken relationships, broken promises, broken expectations. How can we live with that brokenness without becoming bitter and resentful except by returning again and again to God's faithful presence in our lives? To trust God in the light is nothing, but to trust Him in the dark, that is faith. Spirituality is natural goodness. God is not a person, God is a presence personified in us. Spirituality is not a thing, it is the atmosphere of God's presence, goodness, truth, and beauty. God sometimes removes people from your life to protect you. Don't run after them. The most holy and necessary practice in our spiritual life is the presence of God. That means finding constant pleasure in His divine company, speaking humbly and lovingly with Him in all seasons, at every moment, without limiting the conversation in any way. Allow the light and the healing presence of Christ to shine brightly through your lives. In that way, all those who come in contact with you will discover the loving kindness of God. The healthy Christian is not necessarily the extrovert, ebullient Christian, but the Christian who has a sense of God's presence stamped deep on his soul, who trembles at God's word, who lets it dwell in him richly by constant meditation upon it, and who tests and reforms his life daily in response to it. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Salvation is not just something God gives you that is going to bless you after you die, it is having the presence of the Lord now. Here, before God, in the presence of these witnesses, from this time, I consecrate my life to the destruction of slavery. We rarely think of the air we breathe, yet it is in us and around us all the time. In similar fashion, the presence of God penetrates us, is all around us, is always embracing us. Don't ask God to guide your footsteps if you're not willing to move your feet. We ought not to be weary of doing little things for the love of God, who regards not the greatness of the work, but the love with which it is performed.